a lot of stuff to cover. I'm Michael, leading marketing here, and excited to bring you today's agenda. We'll be covering the state of TrueFi with Rafael. He's going to be talking to us about all the latest and greatest happening at the TrueFi protocol layer on the sort of mothership. We'll talk a little bit about where Trust Token sees itself heading, and we'll hear from Ryan C. on that. We'll talk about the health of the protocol, about the status of loans outgoing and quality of the sort of utilization. We're going to dig into the roadmap with Bartek and Ryan. There's a lot of really cool updates for you, especially for the institutional adoption side of things. We'll dive deeper into the committee updates, covering tokenomics, policy. There's a lot of really interesting things happening there. BD, and marketing as well. And we'll finally open up to Q&A at the end with any other proposals you guys want to cover. So with that, Raf, I'll pass it off to you to kick off today's town hall.
All right. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you for the introduction, Michael G. Thank you, everyone, for being here at our September TrueFi Community Town Hall. If we were in person, I would ask you to give it up, to give a huge round of applause. Get excited for today. We got some major announcements coming up. But first, just a reminder of what we are up to in TrueFi. The goal of TrueFi is to build the protocol that powers global lending. We have always believed, we have continued to believe, that DeFi has the potential to transform how global finance works, and that not just billions, but someday trillions of dollars of global financial opportunities will be on DeFi rails. That is the opportunity that we are going after. That is the change that we are seeking to be in the world. And we think that there is a huge amount of additional equity, additional prosperity, additional transparency that's going to be created by this change. So that's what we're up to. Now, let me dive in to some very exciting updates. So first of all, we have for several years now been not just working on building this protocol, but working on continually decentralizing the DAO and the community and the protocol more and more. And we've gotten to an exciting stage as of today that I can share with you all. We now have, as part of a transition to keep decentralizing the DAO, we now have some former Trust Token employees that are going to work directly for the DAO. So they have left the Trust Token team. They're going to be contracting directly with the DAO, and that helps us to have a really strong independent DAO with its own team that can work closely with Trust Token, the company, but still is separate from it. And that is, we think, a very important step to making the protocol and the DAO truly decentralized, like many of the other best respected DAOs in the DeFi world. So specifically, these are our wonderful teammates, Ryan, Bartek, Tyler, Kaimi, and Justina. I think that you've heard from all these folks before, and you're going to hear from them many more times, but they are going to be the core DAO team. They're going to be really piloting out how the DAO team is going to be architected and how we can make sure the DAO is funded, how it can have revenue, how it can have focus, and they're going to be really laying the groundwork for the DAO to come. So Ryan, could you share a couple of words?
Very happy to. Hello, everybody. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Great. So we're super excited about this. I don't know if you want to call it split, transition, realignment, whatever the proper word is. It's something that's been a long time coming within Trust Token. And, I think I can speak for the whole group when I say we could not be more excited to be laser focused on all things protocol related. So whether that's protocol development, so if you guys saw the roadmap from recently, things around Tron Chain and items like that came out of this group, We have a lot of forthcoming tokenomics improvements that we are. I don't know if we're sharing anything today, but we should have some things up maybe on the forums relatively soon. And really just continuing to grow TrueFi both within DeFi, and then also really putting a focus on more and more protocol revenues. So we have some ways to do that. I think you guys understand, in terms of bringing on more managers and creating more fees that way, but also more innovative kind of DeFi and crypto native opportunities that we're looking at. So we'll hopefully have a lot to share with you guys relatively soon. But going forward, if you guys have feedback, ideas, or want to get involved in a bigger way on the protocol side, please reach out to me. I am just my full name on everything: Twitter, Telegram, Discord. Telegram is always the best way to get in touch. And just to highlight that last point about getting involved, Code Knight, who is here in the Discord today, is someone we've been working with behind the scenes for a while now, and we're looking to bring on as a part-time contributor. So we definitely have these roles available. We want to get more of you all involved, and please do reach out.
Boom. Thank you, Ryan. Very much appreciate that. And as Ryan has emphasized, the DAO team, we are seeding it with some people who are former Trust Token employees, but for it to really be community-based, for it to really be decentralized, it's got to have people that come from lots of other places as well. And so Code Knight is the first fantastic example of that, but we are going to be recruiting and growing other people on the DAO team as we go. We do, of course, need to make sure that the DAO has funding, has revenues coming in, and can be sustainable long term. That's something that Ryan and team are going to be very focused on. Thank you, Ryan, for covering that. And for folks that don't know, Ryan is going to be DAO head of BD. So he's going to be a great point of contact if you want to get involved in the DAO, if you are interested in what the DAO's goals are, what it's focusing on, what its vision is, etc. Ryan is the guy to talk to about that. And we do have a proposal right now up on the forum. Let me actually share my screen if people can see. Oh, can people see my screen? If you click on the stream.
That's up. There it is.
Yes, Ken.
So if you haven't already reviewed this proposal, this is a very exciting one entitled Fund Independent Team to Build on TrueFi. This is really about bringing in our first TrueFi team. So, and some associated funding with that. So please go ahead and comment on that, review that. We're hoping to get this approved and go live with it very soon. So that is an exciting update on the DAO side. Any thoughts, questions before I move on to an exciting update on the company side? All right, and remember, there is a chat on the side, so do feel free if you have any thoughts, questions, things you're excited about. If I'm going too fast, going too slow, feel free to put all that info into the chat and I will take a look at it. Okay, so the second exciting update that I have for you is that the company Trust Token that you all know and love, that has been an important part of getting the TrueFi protocol started and continues to be a very important part of this ecosystem, is going through a rebranding to help solidify its brand and its role as really being the prime way for institutional money to come and get access to TrueFi. That is the core role that Trust Token wants to fulfill in this ecosystem. And it really complements everything that the DAO and the core open source smart contracts are creating. So the company Trust Token is going through a rebrand to focus on that. I'm going to let you see shortly what the new branding looks like. So let me actually, whoa. Okay, hang on. Let me see if I can do a little more screen sharing. Whoa. How do I share my slides while I'm projecting my slides? That's tricky. Uh-oh. But if I don't project my slides, then, okay, fine, I just won't project the slides. All right, hang on. One more time. Okay. Boom. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Drum
Great.
roll. Indeed.
Can we get a drum roll, please? For the new rebranding of Trust Token company. Here it is, Archblock. So the company formerly known as Trust Token is hereby now known as Archblock. I believe that this is the first time that we are ever sharing this in public. Is that fair to say, Michael G?
That is
Yes.
true, yes.
This is not on Twitter. This is not anywhere. This community town hall is literally the first time that this is ever being shared outside of the company where it has been developed. Trust Token is no more. Archblock is the future. This rebranding, let me first tell you a little bit about the name, what we like about Archblock. So first of all, Trust Token was always a little bit confusing. It was, a little bit too similar to TrueFi, Trust and True. People got confused with it. And it also having the token in the name, Trust Token, it created some weird connotations. What we like about Archblock, Arch implies this ultra stable structure. It's something solid, something you can trust, but it's also the arch like a bridge, connecting TradFi and DeFi, and that really is the role that Archblock serves in the TrueFi community and beyond, connecting TradFi into DeFi. And that's where we think a centralized company is really important and will be able to do some things that a DAO and a decentralized protocol will not be able to do. Additionally, the block piece emphasizes the blockchain instead of just crypto and tokens, which we think is important for appealing to an institutional audience. And the Arch block, think like Arch Lord or Arch Nemesis. It's like the most awesome block, the top block, the final piece of that arch that holds the whole thing together. So there's a lot that we like about it. If you look at the logo, you can see that there's a lot going on in there. How the A and the R and the H actually almost form an arch. So a lot of work went into this. We're super excited about it. But let me show you a little bit about how things fit together here. Folks can still see my screen okay?
Yes. Yes.
Perfect. So you can see. Uh-oh. All right. I'm going to see if you can hear me right. So Archblock, the company, TrueFi, the decentralized protocol over here on the right in blue. Archblock does have some other products that serve a role in the TrueFi ecosystem. It's got TrueUSD and other currencies that help to provide stable coins used by TrueFi and elsewhere. It also has an asset management business currently called TAM, probably also going to be rebranded at some point in the future, that runs portfolios on top of TrueFi and that is aiming to become one of the most successful asset managers in all of crypto. And in the future, it may launch other businesses that are also complementary and important parts of the TrueFi ecosystem as that becomes needed. But its core focus in all these products, as you can see, is really about connecting TrueFi to institutional investors and institutional portfolio managers that may not be ready to just download MetaMask and start using a DeFi protocol and want a lot more of the additional software and services and regulatory and compliance layer on top of that core decentralized protocol. So that's what Archblock and TrueFi are really about. And just to reiterate, the core mission and vision for each of these entities, Archblock is focused on building the world's most transparent and efficient asset management platform. TrueFi, as you know, is building the protocol that powers global lending. These two things are highly complementary, and both of them we think together are going to enable more transparent and efficient asset management and create a ton of additional equity and prosperity globally. So that's really what this is about, and we think that this structure that we are moving to, Archblock more focused on its institutional audience, TrueFi with its own strong, committed, focused team and more fully decentralized, we think that this is really the right structure to move forward to get success at this core mission. Any thoughts, questions on that before I go on? Excuse me.
Haven't seen too
Okay,
much come
are
in.
people
So I
just
think you're blasting through. It's beautiful.
good? People are just enthralled. All right.
Must be. Go ahead.
Okay, so last thing I'm going to say here before I hand it off back to you, Michael, is in addition to the very strong team that we now have focused on the TrueFi side, we are also having some new leaders step up on the Archblock side. Ryan Christensen, who is here today, who is Trust Tokens, was formerly Trust Tokens Chief Product Officer and the General Manager of the institutional business, which is becoming a larger focus for a primary focus for the new Archblock brand and new Archblock product suite. Excuse me. He is going to be stepping up as CEO of Archblock. And I personally am going to be taking a less operational role and just being co-founder, evangelist, advisor to both Archblock and TrueFi. So Ryan, maybe you could share a few words as well. Uh-oh.
Ryan, you are muted if you're
Not Ryan online.
Let's see if we can get his permissions on. We're just setting up.
How about now? Hey,
There we go. Perfect.
did we do it? We did it.
Yes, we
Raph,
did.
thank you for the nice introduction. You forgot also Archblock board member is also on your list. Keep those responsibilities clear. But thanks for the intro. I'm incredibly excited to talk to everybody, at least just for a second here today. I'm very, very excited about the progress that TrueFi has made with the leadership team, standing up that group and fulfilling the vision to be independent. I want to reiterate and emphasize what Raf said about Archblock's mission. I think our primary goal with everything that we do is continuing to drive TVO to TrueFi, and we're looking at basically anything that we can do to help facilitate making it very easy for more institutional investors and fund managers to operate on TrueFi. I will certainly offer myself up in the Archblock team to provide updates in future town halls about what some of those new things might be as we go into Q4. But really just wanted to say, hello, introduce myself. Thank you all in advance for the work that you're going to continue to do with the community. And just again, emphasize how excited we are as Archblock to continue as a major contributor to TrueFi effectively forever. So thanks all, and I look forward to spending more time with you in the future.
Thank you, Ryan. So, folks, you will all be hearing more from Ryan Christensen about where Archblock is going and the important role that it's going to be playing in the broader TrueFi ecosystem. You're going to be hearing more from Ryan Rodenbaug and other folks on our new focused DAO team about where TrueFi DAO is going to be going and what some of the exciting updates are there. But all in all, we've got very, very strong people on both sides. And from what I can see, from my opinion, pushing forward really well on all fronts. So very excited for a good end to 2022 and an even stronger 2023. With that, Michael G, let me hand it back to you.
Thanks so much. So you've seen what TrueFi and Trust Token have been in the past. You'll see what TrueFi and Archblock now will be in the future. So to talk to us in that transition, where is TrueFi today? We'll hand it off to Tyler to talk about the health of the protocol. How is our lending book? How is our strategy? How are our token holders doing? So Tyler, if you'd be so kind, take over the reins and share a little bit of the data of the TrueFi protocol.
I'm going to share my screen, and Michael, can you give me a check? You see my
Sure.
TrueFi app homepage, okay?
I do. Looks great, man.
Awesome. So for those of you here who are new, I'll just take a minute or two here to walk through where we are today with TrueFi, what's happening on TrueFi, and a bit of a recap of what's happened in the past month. So here's the TrueFi homepage for those who are unfamiliar. we have our 4 core pools here, managed by the DAO. And you can see here the interest rates across those pools are generally around the 10% range. Tether, the largest pool with about 120 million Tether in it today and generating close to 9% underlying yield plus some true rewards, and USDC being the second largest pool with 47 million dollars worth of USDC there, also generating 9% yield, 6% on the lend side and 3% on the true side. So those, I would say, the most significant most significant activity within TrueFi has happened within these pools over the past month. Down below, we have what we call capital markets, which are independent pools, not managed by the DAO, but managed by third parties who can use TrueFi's infrastructure to raise funds, to deploy capital. And so welcome everyone to kind of check out these pools running on TrueFi too. So just a bit of a kind of the overview, this is like the 10,000 foot view of TrueFi, where we are today, what TrueFi's done. TrueFi's generated around $1.7 billion in loan originations since launch in October 2020. What that's translated to is $34 million worth of interest paid back to lenders and to stakers, about $3 million in fees that have gone to TrueFi governance. And then kind of taking that into where we are today, we have $160 million of loans outstanding on TrueFi today, and utilization around 80%. About 80% of these pools are currently lent out, and that's good. That's where we want to be. If you've been around for a while, we try to keep utilization around a target of 80%, somewhere 70 to 80%, meaning that there's some liquidity there for lenders who want to remove funds from these pools. But also a healthy amount of yield being generated by the funds in those pools. And so what I wanted to talk to most significantly today is kind of what's happened in TrueFi since the credit crunch back, like starting from Terra, Three Arrows in early spring. The great news is that over the past month, we're seeing a number of new loans come out of TrueFi. And so looking here at the loan list, 2 new loans kind of in the review period and should go out for funding this week. The RS to Nibio, also recent loans to Folkthing, new loan to TAM, and also to Alameda, all happening within the past month or so here. And then the flip side of that is that we've had a number of loans repaid, if my screen will cooperate. So if you want to check this out for yourself, go to analytics on TrueFi, check the loan list, and I'm filtering here by the repaid loans. You can see that just in the past couple of days, we had significant repayments come in from Nibio, from Folkthing, from MGNR. And so that's kind of created the ability for lenders to take liquidity out of these pools, for new loans to go out, and a healthy just kind of flush and restart of the credit system on TrueFi. And then last thing here, which I'll keep very brief, thanks for all your time, is just what's happened in the past 30 days. So TVL on TrueFi is pretty much flat, still right around the 200 million mark. The spike here, this chart's pretty much flat. The spike here is due to like a faulty true price, so please ignore that. That came in one day. Again, our TVO today, $160 million, 83% utilization. You can check out here kind of what the breakout of our lending pool looks like. More distributed, still largely within by one lender. And I'll wrap up with, on the staking side, there's over 230 million true staked today across 825 different wallets, meaning that there's around $15 million worth of true staked behind TrueFi today. So I'll wrap up there. I'll drop links to everything I showed, and happy to field questions in the chat. Thanks all.
Beautiful. Thank you, Tyler. Also, love to see the number of true holders also always going up. It's a wild thing to see. It doesn't also count for the centralized wallets. So it really speaks to the growing interest in what we are building here. With that, what are we building here? I figured I would pass it off to Ryan and Bartek, talk about some of the things that are coming in the Q4 product roadmap. There's a big roadmap that we released recently that speaks to a lot of the adoption we hope to do both with institutions as well as other DeFi protocols. So Bartek and Ryan, if you want to take off the reins from here, go ahead.
Bartek, can I kick this over to you and I'll support where needed?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So hello everyone, give me just a second to share my screen first. I'm actually gonna share the blog post that Michael mentioned. Can you see the screen on the stream and can you hear me? Someone please confirm and then I'm gonna kick off.
Yep, you're good, Bartek. I see.
Thank you so much. Okay, as Michael mentioned, recently we released a rather large blog post where we describe the plans for the upcoming months. And the plan consists of three major pieces. So the first piece is the introduction of structured portfolios. So in opinion of many, the problem of TrueFi was that it had very strictly defined risk to reward or risk to profit profile, which doesn't work for everyone, and we want to change that with tranching. So instead of just investing in the portfolio or pool as is, one would be able to pick sort of how risk happy they are or how safe they want to be. So in the first iteration of tranching that we're gonna be introducing, we're gonna most certainly have 3 tranches, while the senior tranche is gonna be running on fixed interest and will have the interest rate relatively low while having the risk also very low. Then the mezzanine or like some middle one is gonna have higher interest, though slightly higher risk, and the most junior one is not gonna have the fixed interest, it's gonna have variable interest, and it's gonna be first one to absorb all the volatility of the portfolio. It's also gonna have a lot of leverage. I'm actually happy to share more math behind tranching in the Q&A section. Not gonna dive too deep, but this is gonna provide a lot of flexibility around the opportunities that TrueFi offers. So that's the first piece. And also with the introduction of structured portfolios, we're gonna be introducing the capital formation period. So capital formation period is mostly about enhancing the experience of kicking off new portfolios on TrueFi. So right now, when the portfolio starts, the funds are already available for the manager to disburse loans. And in structured portfolios, before the funds are available for manager to lend them to the end borrowers, first there's going to be some time for the tranche capital to come. The manager will have time to make sure, and all the lenders will have time to make sure that the junior tranche is thick enough and it actually secures the mezzanine or the senior tranche. And then after all the lenders appear and the manager sees the portfolio ready to start, the portfolio can be kicked off, and then all the interest starts accruing, the funds are available for the manager to disburse, so on and so forth. So a small sort of manager-oriented feature, but also lender-oriented as well, actually. So that's the first major piece. Ryan, you wanted to add something?
No, that sounds great. And I think just the only thing I would echo here is that to a general audience, these features may not seem like a big difference, but this is very much the stuff that our institutional lenders and borrowers have both been looking for. And maybe we'll touch on this later, but I think also plays into our tokenomics. So Bartek, I'll let you continue that.
Well, thank you. So thank you for adding that. So I will actually, before I move on to the next item, I'm gonna only add sort of like the result of tranching, which on one hand is creating an opportunity for low risk seeking capital allocators like MakerDAO or Fax, with which we are in contact, and the securities is the first and the most important thing for them, while we're gonna be able for more degen users provide a double-digit APY without any token incentives, just using leverage from the capital of more conservative investors. So I really do think that this is gonna be a very important part of the future TrueFi. Right, so jumping onto the next large item. So we refer to that as the credit vaults, and what hides behind the term is basically an ERC-466 compatibility. So we want everything in TrueFi to be a standard ERC-466 vault. So the portfolios as we have them today are going to be upgraded to be ERC-466 compliant. All the tranches in the structured portfolios are going to be ERC-466 compliant. And that's because it allows far easier and far just easier integrations from other DeFi protocols. We've seen folks like APY or others integrate with us, and that always took a lot of conversation to figure out the interfaces, to figure out what are the sort of mechanics under the hood of TrueFi. Now we believe that the ERC-466 standardization will drive far more adoption from more DeFi native folks. And also with that comes the fact that we want our portfolios and portfolio managers to be able to invest in other ERC-466 vaults. So portfolio managers of TrueFi will not only be able to disburse loans as they do today, but also invest in other opportunities, which can be three things. One, our own TrueFi portfolios, other opportunities across DeFi, or our loans. And the most interesting part is probably the fact that when we introduce both ERC-466 standardization on the sort of like the loan disbursement side and the deposit side, we will have very sort of natural and self-assembled rails to create fund of funds, where it's gonna be super easy to create a portfolio on TrueFi that only invests in other TrueFi portfolios. So there could be these portfolio managers that are specialized in disbursing loans and doing business with real-world asset originators, while some DeFi native person could just assemble a portfolio that allocates capital between different portfolios. At the same time, we are considering making our loans, TrueFi loans, being ERC-466 compliant. So the process of funding the loans will actually resemble the process of investing in ERC-466, but this is not confirmed yet. It will have some benefits, but we'll see about that. And with creation of these new instruments, as I already spoken about, redesigning how loans work, we're probably gonna, or most certainly, gonna externalize the part of the loan that could be called a repayment schedule. With bullet loans as we have them today, the schedule is super simple. It's just basically a statement that by the end of the term, one needs to repay everything. But they can be far more complex. We do have loans when after each period, a borrower needs to repay interest, and then after several months repay interest plus principal. But we believe that this sort of logic can be externalized, as the repayment schedule is basically a simple question and a simple answer. Simple question: is the instrument in default? Is the instrument still trustworthy? Do we believe that this is going to be repaid on time? And the answer is basically yes or no. So we can create all sorts of fancy things around that and come up with many tactics for the borrower to assure that they are solvent other than just a bullet loan, and we strongly believe that that making this sort of architectural tweak is gonna help that. And that's more or less about the second item that I wanted to talk you through. If Ryan has anything to add, then I'm gonna make a short pause, and after a few seconds, I'm gonna go on to the next one.
No, I think that sounds great.
Okay. So the last but not least item on the large item on the roadmap is the TRU token utility and the fee rework. So the fee rework is the part that we are pretty set on what is gonna look like. So basically, TrueFi is gonna transition to a simplified fee model where as stated here, TrueFi will collect an annualized fee of 50 bips on each dollar stored in active TrueFi portfolios. So on the protocol level, we are getting rid of deposit fees, withdrawal fees. We don't want to sort of bump onto a situation when someone deposits into portfolio, then wants to withdraw and move on to second portfolio, and then takes a massive hit because within a couple of days they had to pay 0.5% on the whole capital. We want to avoid that, and we believe that annualized fee, so a daily fee of 0.0013 more or less percent, is going to be the most fair and the most effective way to stream revenue to the DAO. And on the TRU utility part, I don't feel like I'm ready to talk about the plans yet, but as was mentioned before, we're probably gonna be ready to announce something more significant soon. Yes, so I guess that's all from me on the roadmap. Again, gonna pause for a second for Ryan if he wants to chime in. And yeah. Oh, actually, one more thing. I'm actually really happy to talk more about tranching in the Q&A section, but not gonna take any more time right now. So yeah, thank you guys, and heading it back over to you, Michael.
Yeah, cheers. Anything else you want to add to close us out for the Q4 roadmap, Brian?
No, I think Bartek gave a great overview. I think one indirect thing I actually want to hit on with the point of tokenomics is that the thing that I find most appealing about tranching from a business perspective is that if you look across our subsector of the market right now, all of the credit protocols, we're in this tough spot where most of the yields are, juiced like a bodybuilder on steroids with token incentives. And I believe that by being able to launch tranching and offering higher organic junior yields for riskier capital, which essentially everything is today, that it opens up a great opportunity for us to be able to turn down incentives across all new product launches as well, which is a huge goal for me and the team. So just wanted to share that.
Sweet. Well, with that, maybe we roll into the committee updates then. We can talk a little bit about some of the things that the BD, policy, marketing, and other committees are doing to explore, the various directions of the protocol. Brian, since you're already speaking, do you want to give a little update on what the BD committee has done lately?
I would say BD committee is not up to anything at the moment. Thank you to Tyler for attending Tyler Ether for attending the one meeting that we had about 2 months ago. Could certainly do a better job of getting people involved, but we haven't done a ton of that to date. I would say that the big thing to keep an eye out for at the moment, sorry for speaking so slowly, I'm trying to load a link in the background so I can share it, is our current proposal with DYDX to move their borrowing pool over to TrueFi. We're working with their team in the background in terms of what kind of the best next steps are here. But the idea is that, and I forget if I covered this last time because this has been in the works for a little bit. DYDX launched with this native borrowing pool that at one point had, I want to say, almost $800 million deposited into it. And they were just paying lenders with DYDX tokens so that they could source liquidity from market makers. That is slated to wind down at the end of this month, and we're trying to move this over to TrueFi in the form of ALOCs. We're also requesting 1.2 million DYDX tokens to subsidize this rate on TrueFi for lenders, so that lenders would get roughly a 10% APY, half USDC, half DYDX tokens. And we're hoping to raise about 125 million to start. So keep an eye out on this. I think this would be a pretty massive launch if we're able to pull it off.
Love to see it.
I
Thank
will
you.
stop there.
Tyler or Michael, whether or not you want to expand a little more on tokenomics and policy, or sort of the DAO leadership. Do you want to talk about either of those two? Step up.
I'll jump in real quick on tokenomics. A lot was just covered, but just want to add the point that the goal of tokenomics, as I see it, is really just to make TrueFi a better product for lenders, borrowers, managers, people who use TrueFi. What that does, if we make a good product, good experience that people want, then that'll bring more people to using TrueFi, more value there, create more fees, and that should go to the token. So yeah, we're working. I'm putting some drafts together and sharing them around. If you want to chat on them, please ping me. I'd love to get your feedback on it. But the general direction is kind of using True to make a better experience for lenders. And as Ryan said, like if we can give the conservative lenders what they want better through like senior tranche pool that's better protected, less risk, and they get yields that they're happy with, and the junior or like riskier lenders can get the exposure they want, then ideally we can kind of turn our emissions down and hopefully collect more fees that we can send back to our ecosystem, to true holders, true stakers, etc. So yeah, just want to give open invite to anyone who wants to chat on that. Drop a note in the Tokenomics channel or ping me directly.
Mm-hmm. And if you are a verified token holder, you'll have the DAO operations tab on the left side of Discord down there. You'll see the tokenomics tab. It's a great place to have that conversation. Tyler would love to jam with you on what the future of the True token should look like. He's got some great proposals. Chop it up from there. And then Michael Bland, I'd like to pass it off to you to talk about some of the leadership initiatives that you've got in mind.
Of course. Michael, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, hi everyone. Michael, sort of policy lead for TrueFi. I'm going to drop a link to the previously passed snapshot vote in both of the channels. So the TrueFi Foundation was recently approved via snapshot vote. We had 109 million True voting in favor of it. And so what we're going to be doing from this snapshot is moving to implementation. So we have, an interim board of those 3 individuals. We're going to be scheduling a member vote for additional board members in the coming months so that we can further decentralize the TrueFi board. And then we'll be working on aligning the TrueFi Foundation's governing documents with the on-chain governance process that's currently in force. So there are a number of governing documents like the articles of the corporation, the bylaws, etc., that need to be adapted so that the board members are actually formally required to take governance directions from token holders. A lot of that work is novel, and we're going to be discussing all of this in the policy committee Discord channel. So if you want to be involved in that, review provisions, things like that, happy to discuss everything there. And then, as we previously mentioned, there's a forum post, which was linked previously, whereby we have 5 sort of core team members that are going to be moving to work independently on the TrueFi DAO. Their funding proposal is up on the forum. Discussions can can be either in the policy committee Discord channel or on the forum itself. And sort of questions, comments, things like that can happen there before it moves to a snapshot vote. So welcome all your feedback on that.
Awesome, thank you. And as a little roundup, we'll do some marketing committee updates. I'll do a little screen share if we don't mind. Let's make sure we can do this. Okay. Let's see if I can actually get this done. All right, can you guys see my screen here? See the little NFT dribble? Yes, no? Very good. So just a quick roundup here. We've done the NFT drop campaign now, has finally concluded with 13,000 mints. It was a very small expenditure to drive a huge amount of growth. You'll notice now that the TrueFi community itself is bloated to about 80,000 followers, lots more engagement, lots more chatter on the socials. The community has gone from about 40,000. I see. Sorry. I wonder how I can get my screen here. Let's see. Can you now see my website? Very good. Excellent. Excellent. So we were talking about this drop that attracted about 35, 40,000 new followers, most of whom are continuing to engage throughout the channel there. We've added an extra 10,000 or so new followers on Discord, and folks there are saying they're GMs and what have you. Beyond that, we're also going to be participating in a few other events on site besides ETH Warsaw. Antek, if you want to talk about a little bit what we did in Poland for one of the biggest in-person events of TrueFi's sort of field to date. I'd love to hear you talk about 30 seconds about what TrueFi did in Warsaw. Mm-hmm. Yep, October 11th to 14th, we got a deployment there. And then before then, we're also in New York City for Misari SmartCon. And we got a speaking slot over here at the Chainlink event that will have us talking about the TUSD side of the business this later next week, actually. And finally, we'll end in October with BitGo at Activate, speaking a little bit about our technical and our product features with that partnership there. That kind of covers the broad scope of all things on the marketing side. And with that, I will begin to open it up to any questions, any thoughts, any ideas if you want to discuss. Looking at the chat. Okay. So feels like we covered a lot of ground today. We covered the Archblock announcement, which again, keep a little bit tight to your chest. We'll be rolling out the full announcement over the next few days. We talked about the new leadership coming in to lead Archblock and its future for institutional adoption. TrueFi being a big player in the building of financial rails for the modernization of moving money around the world. And finally, we've got one hell of a team here to put it all together. Feel free to jump in any of the committees that are in the operations bracket there, allocations, policy, etc. That will allow you to jump in and get yourself involved. You can have a say in what kind of loans are being originated or what kinds of tokenomics decisions are being made. So thanks again for coming to today's town hall. For any other questions, we'll hang out a little bit and I'll start unmuting people if they want to raise questions. Take care. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everyone, for attending. See you all next time.